Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Music Podcast once again. And it is an honor today. I have a legend with me today, Nasty Ronnie Galletti. Nasty is the lead singer of Florida thrash legends Nasty Savage. Nasty Savage formed in 1983 and became one of the pioneers of the Tampa metal scene. Gave birth to Death and Obituary, Morbid Angel, Deicide, so many bands. Over the years, Nasty Savage endured a number of lineup changes, had some reformations and reunions. They reformed in 2016 and have been active ever since. And today, this day, Nasty Savage has delivered another chapter in their legacy by releasing their first album in 20 years. It's a great old school thrash album. It's called Jeopardy Room. It's available on FHM Records. Nasty Ronnie, it's an honor to have you, man. Thank you.
Man, it's great to be here, brother. And man, riding the storm out here in Tampa Bay, releasing a new album. And it's like it just got released. It's like I was born in a crossfire hurricane, like that Rolling Stones song, Jumpin' Jack Flash, a song we used to play back in the early days of Nasty Savage.
Man, yeah, that is so fitting. Yeah, for people who don't know or are watching this at a later date, Ronnie has just gone through the massive hurricanes, Helene first and then Milton there in Florida, hurricanes and tornadoes and everything. It's a big mess over there, and I am so honored to have you, and it's so appreciated. It warms my heart for you to take the time and the efforts to do this, man. I so appreciate it.
Well, man, you know what? It's important to support the people who support metal, and your dedication, your passion to not only help Nasty Savage, but to help the metal scene is so important. Back in the day, I was licking stamps and just sending demo tapes and writing letters, and we didn't have all that stuff, man. Even 20 years ago when we did our last album, we still didn't have a lot of promotion, podcast, media like yourself. So I applaud you, man, for the dedication that you have had for heavy metal. I thank you very much. It's a great to be here.
And I am honored to do it. It was my soundtrack to my life growing up. In 1983, I grew up with all that stuff. It changed my life, and I love all kinds of music, but this is something that I never heard before. And I was like, wow, all those bands coming out of your area there. And, you guys were one of the first to do that. And I think to myself that Tampa metal scene was different. It was just, I don't know how it was different, but it was different. And I've heard that, the guitar tunings weren't tuned as low. You guys were technically sound more proficient and that kind of thing. From the horse's mouth, if you will. Was there anything that you guys did differently in that Tampa scene that wasn't anything that the other guys were doing?
Well, I mean, there was a band called Avatar who became a Sabotage. And before I was really jamming with Nasty Savage or in a band, they were out and we saw them a couple of times. There's another band called Argus. And at that same time, I and friends of mine were collecting records, and it was mostly new wave British heavy metal, Holocaust, Raven, then Venom came out, Angel Witch, but then Venom came out and you're like, holy shit, you could do anything, man. These guys are like, they started that really heavy blackness of after Black Sabbath, then Venom, then Possessed. So we're fans, I was a fan, and then I would give these records to the guys in Argus, and then they'd start playing some of these bands, Angel Witch and stuff, and then we'd go there and thrash and headbang. Then it was an opportunity for me a band was looking for a singer. They were called Nightmare. It was Ben, Fred, and Craig Huffman. So I went over there and tried out for the band, and I sang 2 Iron Maiden songs. Then never heard anything back from these guys. So I'm like, damn, I guess I failed the test. So then I was at a keg party about a week later, and I saw them, and I said, hey, man, I walked right up to them. I said, hey, you want me to be your singer or not? And they go, yeah, we do. And I go, all right, I'll be over Monday. With a game plan. So I go over there Monday. It was a big jam house. I said, everybody out of the house except the band. They're looking at me. I said, everybody out except the band. They're like, okay. So I go sit down on the floor, and I said, the name of the band is Nasty Savage, and I'm Nasty Ronnie, the wildest singer ever. I said, and we're going to put our money together, and we're going to create a demo tape with 4 songs called Wage of Mayhem. I said, and with 1 year, we're going to be signed to a label. We're going to be touring. We're going to be getting fan mail from all over the world. Is everybody in? And you know what? That was our goal, to do that. So we do this demo, and there's in California, there's Exodus, Slayer, Metallica. Then in New York, you have Anthrax, maybe Overkill. Possessed was happening.
Right.
So it was just the heaviness of everywhere. And then we were into Maiden, and then Merciful Fate came out, and I gotta owe it all to the guys, man. The guys who wrote those songs. Fred Dregish, the bass player, was like a Steve Harris. He was just a mastermind with music theory, and he was really into Maiden and progression. And then David Austin, we got then after we acquired David Austin and Curtis Beeson, and then we did the demo. So we made one little change. Anyway, all these guys just brought this music and writing in David's style, Ben's style, Fred's style, and Curtis was a ripping drummer. And we created this demo tape. So we just started playing. We started playing gigs, man, and we didn't know anything but, if I'm going to be the singer in a band, and I said I'm going to be the wildest, I'm going to do that. And I'm a marketing guy. So I was marketing and promoting, and we do these shows, and all these kids would come out and they'd be inspired because they were seeing like mayhem. They were seeing shit they'd never seen before, but it was natural to me. It's like high octane, like give it to them. So we were the first wave, and here we are from the swamplands of Florida. What bands come from there? And so it was hard, and people really didn't really care about Florida. So we created that first wave, and we recorded at Morris Sound Recording Studio. We got such a good production on our album after Savatage went there with Par Records and Dan Johnson with the first record. All of a sudden, Creator, Destruction, Sepultura, Agent Steel was coming from California, and so many other bands started coming to Morris Sound to record. So that started that foundation of metal, Florida, Morris Sound, hey, Nasty Savage, Sabotage. And then then all those kids that were watching us at a young age, I say we were the first wave of metal that hit, like Normandy Beach, man. We hit the beachhead. And then the second wave were people like Chuck and Rick and Cam from Death, who used to come bang their head at Nasty Savage concerts from Orlando. They would come to our practices even. So you got Death, Deicide, you got Morbid Angel. And back in the early days, and this is a real connection to Jeopardy Room now, I'm at my mom's house, probably just after the demo, maybe. And she goes, Ron, there's 2 boys at your house. They want at the door. They want to talk to you. So I go to the door, and there's 2 kids on bicycles, on banana seats with the sissy bars and the high handlebars. And they go, hey, are you Nasty Ronnie? I go, yeah. They go, well, we're John and Donald Tardy. We want to know how to start a band. I said, hold on a minute. You guys, there's no Google Maps or nothing. You guys searched me out to my house, and you have the balls to knock on the door and ask me this question? I said, you guys are brilliant, man. I love you guys. I said, man, I'm excited. Get in my 70 Chevelle right here. We're going to go to Lithia Springs. We're going to throw the Frisbee for about 5 hours. And I'm going to tell you everything I possibly know so you can do your thing, because I'm excited for you guys. Wow. So 15 years later, they contact us and say, hey, man, we did this video and we honor Nasty Savage, Unchained Angel at the beginning of 10,000 Ways to Die. And it's an animated video. And they fucking did that for us and put us on the map again. The people who didn't even know who we were in their in their market of success and what they do on their platforms now and everything. So that was really cool. And it has over 7 million views right now. Then they put out a book, and they have a whole chapter, Nasty Savage. So that second wave came on, and they took kind of to another extreme. And I think between Possessed in California and what was happening in Florida, Morbid Angel, Deicide, Obituary. Those are heavy hitters, man. Let alone Cannibal Corpse came out there, Atheist, Nocturnus, and all these bands that evolved from the evolution. So that was something I was proud of because we made done the first wave, but that second wave really put Florida even. We were on the map for that metal capital. Then it became the death metal capital. I mean,
Yep.
we worked with Scott Burns in the studio. He was an assistant to us. He was like the guy who would change the tapes and stuff for Jim. So and then he became this unbelievable godly death metal producer, and it just added to what Florida was happening, and that's how that thing came along and got Florida on the map. And then we did our lulls and ups and downs, but those guys carried it on and got a lot more successful than we ever were because they had management, booking agencies. So yeah, man, Florida is a powerhouse now for sure. And if we were the
Yep.
ones who kind of led that way or blazed that trail, I'm very proud of that. And
Yep.
the guys that give us credit and do in interviews, I really respect that a lot.
Yeah, well, it is, and it's so true. And guys like Obituary, telling it like it is. If it wasn't for you guys, they wouldn't exist. Probably. That's a great legacy. You guys pioneers of that whole scene. It's really really great.
Yeah, you know what? Wait, excuse me. I got to tell you one real quick
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
When okay, after the first album, Fred was gone. Then we picked up Indulgence album. We did Dezo as our bass player. Then he left, and then our third offering was Abstract Reality. So we
Mhm.
got this other guy, Chris Morehouse. But when they were auditioning for the bass players, I wouldn't really go. I'd let the guys pick out who they want to jam with, because they're got to be most comfortable, and I just would go with whoever they picked.
Right.
I didn't know it, but then we were doing a charity benefit for Curtis Beeson around 2003 or so, four, and or maybe later on, it might have been 12. Anyway, it was a charity benefit. Curtis had a brain tumor. We just lost Curtis too. God rest his soul. Rest in peace, brother. The shark is still swimming. Legends never die.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm at that show, and Glenn Benton comes up to me from Deicide. He goes, "Hey, motherfucker." I go, "Hey, what's up, Glenn?" He goes, "Hey, I'm pissed off at you." I go, "Really? Why?" He goes, "I tried out for Nasty Savage, man, as a bass player when you guys needed one. You got Chris Morehouse instead." I go, "No shit." I said, "Golly, man." I go, I was never at those. I was never at those auditions anyhow. But just think, Glenn, if you would have gotten Nasty Savage, you might never have burned a upside down cross in your forehead,
Right.
and it might have changed the course of heavy metal forever, man, and death metal. So damn, I guess it worked out okay for you.
Yeah.
I just had to laugh at that one.
No
But yeah,
doubt.
and those are some of the historic movements and steps. I'm sure there's more that have happened in the course of 40 years of Nasty Savage.
Right. Oh, for sure. And that's just really, I mean, if he would have gotten the gig, we wouldn't have Deicide.
You
So
never know.
yeah, you never know. It's crazy, man. It's so cool. It's been in the past 35 years, Nasty Savage, only two records. Did you spend a lot of time doing music? I know you're a publisher, you've done film, for years and years. Were you writing music during that time? I mean, in the time of the
You mean
past 35 years for this album?
well, you mean since Psycho came out 20 years ago.
Right.
So are you talking about since Psycho? Because I wrote a lot going into that one, man. I remember writing upstairs in my bonus room, and with candles only, just writing those lyrics. I took the 13 steps of the 13th pyramid. There I was tied to the tree of woe. Oh man, that Dementia 13 song is so cool. But all those songs were fun. And when you're a writer, I mean, you always are. I'm a word man, brother. I'm not a bird man.
Hmm.
So a word man always want to calculate and bring together words, rhymes, sayings, titles. Then you get those titles and you really have something to base on. I do like a whole page of 50 different cool titles, and I'd narrow them down when it was time to. But I'd always accumulate them no matter where I was, how many years ago. I would always take note on cool stuff. And it's just like philosophy or rhymes and poem books and Robert Blake or every philosopher or poet you could think of, and just life in general, and you just never know where you're going to get that real inspiration.
Yeah.
And so I was always accumulating, but then when I knew we were going to do an album, you really dig deeper and deeper and deeper into your own self to find out what you really want to say in your own way, and you want to write it for yourself, and you mature. The stuff I wrote in the early days, maybe a little immature type of writing about thunder and lightning and posers and killing and death, and so you start thinking about more as you write, and you can't take it too seriously. But yeah, man, I was always writing, and when I knew we were doing an album again, I was really, really excited to really, it's like a blank canvas. And I'm a painter like Picasso or somebody, man. I got my brush and I got my paints, and now I got the title. But when I get the music from the guys and I know that's the song and I see where I'm going to be singing, the rhythm will set you free, man. The rhythm will set you free.
It's
It's
great.
it's the trip, man. I just dig deep, man, like Picasso or Van Gogh or somebody like that, man. I'm a word man. I like it.
And this is such a great record for words. The lyrics in this record are just it's a step above, man. It's really I mean, it is the upper top shelf stuff, man. And I was surprised. I was a little bit surprised because it has been 20 years. It's yeah, everybody's a little bit older. Maybe it just lost something over the years. No, 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 no. This may be the best Nasty Savage record I've heard, man. Just incredible. Music super tight, lyrics, like I say, genius, man. Really, really cool. Um, Going into the album, any intentions for this album, in the sound or anything like that? Did you do anything differently? Like, use older instruments or mics or amps or, analog tape kind of thing or anything like that to get the certain sound that you want?
Um, Actually, we were on a timeline, man, and we had only a small budget, but what really brought it together is Uh, first of all, I'm standing on an island, man. I'm by myself holding this Nasty Savage flag as the only member. So what are people going to say? Are they going to say, "Oh, it's not really Nasty Savage without this guy, and it's just this guy, and not him, and it's not real, it's fake"? So I'm like, I got to really put together a powerful pack here. And I already had the musicians. I had younger
Right.
guys, and they may be 10 years younger than me, 5 years, whatever. But they're shredders, man. And some of them come from death metal background, and some are also classical, and they've been around the block, and they're just solid dudes. And I've been jamming with Pete and Jim, the drummer and another guitarist, for 5 years with David Austin even before he quit. So I mean, I told him, I said, dude, this is the new chapter of Nasty Savage, and I want you guys to be the ones to deliver this shit. I said, I'm not the musician,
Yeah.
but I'm going to give you some vision on what I'm looking for. I want that, like the $6 million man, bigger, stronger, faster,
Right.
more powerful than a speeding locomotive, whatever. I said, man, I want some ka-chunk, 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 maybe
Yeah.
like even stuff that I've never heard before that I kept asking for and never got because sometimes it was too complex. I said, let's keep it simple. Let's just fucking deliver something powerful. And I said, it's 2024. You got big shoes to fill them, but don't worry about the past, man. That's the rear view. I said, this is the only thing we have is the now. So what I would do, I'd say, Pete, I've got this title for you, man, and it's called Schizoid Platform. So of course I need platforms of schizophrenia, mayhem, and bring back the psycho shit or whatever. And then, he delivered on that. And when we went into the studio on that particular song, we had Jerry Outlaw, who's a pretty famous guy around here.
Mhm.
He sat in on 3 songs and he did solos for us. And one of them was on a Schizoid Platform. But he jammed with John Oliva and Savatage. So he's a really classy guy. Somehow someone told him, and then he said, "Oh, I'd love to come." And we brought him in and he did the solos. this plan. So we went back to Morris Sound, and I knew we were in good hands with Jim Morris, and he just does everything possible to give you that quality sound. And like you said, it's a great production. And one thing you can't lie about is production. If it sucks, it sucks. If
Right.
the songs suck, they suck. But if the production is good, the production is good. You can hear everything, and the killer drum sound, bass, rhythms, all that. So I have this plan: go back to Morris Sound, where it all began, so people would understand. Oh, it's Morris Sound. Okay, Nasty Savage. Then I wanted to get Fred Dragishin involved, our original bass player, and I asked Fred to contribute because I knew it was important to bring back the past again. So Fred was going to write a Jeopardy Room song. He didn't do it in time. He lives in Turkey. Anyway,
Wow.
he sends us the song after the fact that we already did it. I said, Pete, just write that fucker, because Pete had another heavy song. I said, that's Jeopardy Room. And so Pete, what Fred sent us, we took a little piece of it out of the song, and that's Invocations. It's the intro to the album.
Oh,
So
that's
it's a
cool.
subtle impact before you get punched in the face. And
Yeah.
then another thing I had to do is I said, damn, what are we going to do for the cover art? I don't want to do a bunch of AI shit that everybody else is doing, flames and skulls and demon faces and shit. I said, I need to get back with Vandekar, man, who painted our other albums. I said, but he's been dead for 35 years. Shit. So I Googled and did this and that. And all of a sudden someone responded. I got a phone number, and it was Vandekar's grandson, and he still lives on the estate. I said, dude, you're at where the iron gates and the gargoyle on the roof and all those statues in the yard. He goes, yeah, man, come on. I got something for you. You could look at whatever we have. And he's a showman himself. So we went there, me and Dave Orman, and man, I started looking, taking pictures. You get the CD, you'll see all these pictures with the lyrics, and these are all the statues that are in his yard. And then I got a canvas from him, and I'm like, dude, this is perfect. It's almost the series of Indulgence. So now I had, and while I started pushing it out there and did a little of my own marketing, people would see that and associate right away. Oh yeah, Nasty Savage, just like the old day, like Vandekar.
Yep.
And then we were at Morristown. I had Fred Dragishin. One other thing I wanted to do is when I was negotiating with FHM record guy, Frank, I told him, I said, we're going to redo one song off the demo that never got recorded. We're going to redo Witch's Sabbath.
Yeah.
And I said, and I'm going to have the guys from Obituary on this track with us. He goes, oh, Ron, that would be very good. I said, it's going to happen. And so I wanted to bring back the past when those kids were at my house, and now they're able to be a part of something that I wanted to give back to them because they gave so much to us. It's almost like the teacher and the student thing, Now I'm the student and they're teaching me how to operate in heavy metal these days, with touring and all that. Because when I went to their house afterwards, I was filming a behind the scenes video, and I got their quotes for everything. And then I was like asking them all these questions. We were going over the business of metal today, and I'm driving home going, man, it was just like the teacher being taught by the student, man. And so that's the evolution, but that's what brought this whole album together. And I think with all that, it got people's attention. And then I was sending out some samples to some OG people from the past, real metalheads and fans of Nasty Savage, that I really wanted to find out what they had to say. And all of it was positive feedback. They were going, man, people are going to be surprised about this shit. Yeah. And that's
Yep.
where we are, man. We went and did it. And I just woke up that one day and I had to go do vocals in the studio after 20 years. And I wrote all this stuff nonstop. And I saw the drums go down, the bass, the rhythms, the leads. And now I had that anxiety that I had to deliver my shit. Everybody else
Hey,
did. A lot of
hey,
pressure, a lot of almost fear, and
sure.
anxiety. But when you're carrying your words, man, like your poems and your honor badge, you know what you have to do, and you got to get in there and preach. You got to rhyme. You got to make shit happen and punch it, punch it, punch it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't want to do a bunch of high vocals. Plus, we didn't have time for all that. Not a lot of overdubs. It's real raw. Um, we didn't do a ton of guitar tracks or anything. So, but I wanted to sing more in a mid-range, powerful form where people could understand what I'm saying and not really do the high vocals, the falsettos. And, I probably can still do them, and I know I can It just takes a lot more work as far as overdubbing and planning. But I think with the obituary connection and all that, I really wanted to let people know that we could be right what's happening today and not have to do anything different. And we wanted to, I don't know if I dare say, be more accessible to younger demographics.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think it is for sure. Yeah, and it's great to have those obituary guys. It kind of brings it full circle. Love the Witch's Sabbath too. It's fantastic. Just put a video out for that. There'll be a link. Definitely watch that. One of the tunes that
Yeah, they did a
really,
cool job with that.
yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. One of the tunes is an instrumental. It's called The Sixth Finger. Uh, Really cool instrumental. I was just wondering about the title. How did that song get its title? What's the sixth finger?
The six fingers is just, I grab my titles from all over the place. And really, the six finger happened to be Jim Morris in the studio helping us produce this thing because he was the six finger, the sixth band member. But in the 60s, there was this, like, it almost looked like silly putty, but it was a finger that you'd attach to your hand and make it the sixth finger. And it
Right,
was like an espionage thing. It come a little thing would shoot out of it. It's like a secret
cool.
agent, James Bondish kind of deal. It's a little toy,
Yeah.
And I collect toys and I collect all kinds of shit. I have booths in antique malls and stuff. So I saw the six finger. I said, "Damn, that's a cool name for a damn song."
It
And I
is.
said, "If any song, it should be the instrumental, the six finger." And then that's how that came about.
That's cool. That's cool. And I was wondering that, and I hadn't heard that referred to as a six finger. I know exactly what you're talking about, though. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Have you thought about writing an autobiography, getting this story out? Your story is a great one.
Yeah, I've thought about it, because not only Nasty Savage, but pro wrestling and producing a television show for 28 years, Born to Ride, which is a biker show. I created reality TV 95, and I produced 1,340 TV episodes of Born to Ride television, man. So that's a lot of marketing promotion. And, then I started a magazine. I'm publishing Born to Ride magazine. I've met a lot of people, a lot of, celebrities and all that shit from Willie Nelson to Hulk Hogan to Charlie Daniels, politicians, and, all types of people have been on my platforms of Born to Ride because biking is from blue collar to white collar. It's a real parallel to heavy metal fans
Mhm.
because I feel it's really they're really loyal and they help each other and they're just down to earth real people. And people of all walks of life. It doesn't matter what color you are, or where you're from or what your political views are. It's when you're riding, you're getting back to that Glenn Benton thing. He rides a Harley too, and I always wanted to do a story on him for Born to Ride, like people who ride, different people and shit. So I was gonna ride with him and park, like be under a tree and ask him about biking, and then say, and I wanted to hear him say, "Oh, it's the freedom of the wind blowing through your hair," just a generic ass shit. I
Right,
just thought it'd be funny as hell. Here's Glenn Benton,
right.
deicide, say, "I love the freedom of the wind blowing through my hair." But yeah, a book. Like I said, I think the chapter's not complete yet. You keep pushing and keep pushing, and I've produced movies, and I've done a lot of shit, man. I co-produced over 200 episodes of the IWF wrestling at Universal Studios. At the same time, I took Nasty Ronnie into that character, and got the Nasty organization, and there's a lot of stuff, and really, a movie, a story is a movie is like 90 pages, and each you set up scenes, so you got maybe so many scenes, and that's how you write it. And maybe one day. I haven't really thought about that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we do. I'd love to hear the from the beginnings. Growing up and going through that whole pioneering time with that metal scene, and and those later years producing the shows and meeting all those people. It's a great story that you have, and it would be a great read. I know it would. I've heard Kelly Schaefer from Atheist. He's told a story about Morbid Angel. They were cutting themselves and putting blood in a chalice backstage one time, and it just freaked him out. A lot of weird things, like a lot of really dedicated metal type, in that death metal genre for sure. Anything like that you can recall from back in the day that was, just beyond extreme?
I never really worried about any of those other bands. I never went to any shows.
Nah.
I would just show up usually at our shows like 10 minutes before we go on stage, and then go back and be back in my own world again. I never really was that guy. So I don't really know that kind of shit, except one time. It's the early days at Ruby's Pub, a famous place. There's a lot of live tapes there. And,
Yep.
back in the 80s, promoters, I mean, who's going to pay you to play? Right? I mean, you got to prove yourself. These bands think today they just need to show up with their gear and get paid to play. You got to prove it. So I did a deal with the guy at Ruby's Pub back then. I said, look, don't pay us, just give us the door. And we would do like $2,000 at the fucking door, man, at $5 a
Great.
head,
I
ten
love
bucks a head, whatever. And we'd make money, So we were business guys even from the get go, because I negotiated these deals. And anyway, so it's about 20 minutes before we go on stage. It's kind of rainy night, and it's dark all around the place. And I get out of my car and walk up there, and I see Curtis uh, confronted by three guys. And they're like, really? Obviously, I saw something was uneasy. So I go, Curtis, what's going on? And they were like in dark clothes and shit. He goes, Ronnie, these guys are trying to take my necklace. He goes, they're trying to take my necklace. And he found a necklace, and it happened to be Trey's necklace, I guess, from Morbid Angel, his sacred satanic necklace. Curtis found it, and it's his now, and they're trying to take it back. And I didn't know who they were or anything. I said, hey, man, I looked at them, and I said, do you guys want to go swimming? And I looked to the right, and there was a big ass mud puddle, and they all went, whoosh, and they looked and went, and they like crawled up and like took off and left. I mean, they jetted out of there when I said, "Do you want to go swimming?" And I was like blowing up and shit. And I looked over there, and they took off. So the next time we played at Ruby's Pub, we were there thrashing and the mayhem and all the people going nuts. And this hand comes out of the crowd with a little box like you put a baseball in it. And I opened it up, and what it was a cat's head. And
Oh,
it turned out that the guys in Obituary put an evil spell on us or some shit, and gave us a cat's head that they severed off a cat. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And I just took it, threw it into the crowd, or someone took it
oh,
from me. But so that's about as close to something like that I could think of.
yeah. Wow. Yeah,
That
wild
was,
times. Man, there's something for the book,
Yeah, there's been fights and things like that. One time, Sabotage was playing, and my friend Devanoy, which is a big record collector and a big part of the early days of us, is a big guy, and he'd always get over drunk, and he'd get drunk as hell. And he was on the front getting in a fight with some guys, and then they got rid of him, and then I went out there, and the crowd came back in, and these guys were like bullies, and they didn't understand what thrashing was. So of course I went out there and backed right up into him on purpose, and the guy started swinging on me, and then his buddy started swinging on me, and I'm like, oh man, I'm just crouched down getting boom, 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 boom. I'm like, man, someone will help me any minute. Boom, boom, no one's helping me, and we're the only ones there. Three guys are pounding me. The corner of my eye, I see a chair, and I made my way to the chair, and I went,
Oh,
boom, I swung the chair and hit the guy, busted him so hard he hit the ground, hit the other guy, and then I just hit the side door to get air because I was blown up. And I was
yeah.
like, oh my God. So it was a good fight right there in front of Sabotage on stage. I came back in, and then a bunch of people grabbed these guys, took them outside, kind of beat them up, and I said, throw them in the dumpster, and they threw the big guy in the dumpster, man. And they never came back again.
Wow. Good times, man. Good times. I, Ronnie, am I gonna see you out here in Chicago? Are you guys gonna hit the road? Is that a thing?
I mean, we'd love to. I mean, we played at Reggie's about a year or two ago.
Yeah.
Man, what a crowd! Are you familiar with Reggie's? I'm
Yeah,
sure you
totally.
are.
Yep.
I
Great
tell you
venue.
what, it's like a passage to play at Reggie's in front of some great heavy metal fans of Chicago who have seen the best of the best. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a sacred room. And when we played on that sacred stage, man, I left a lot of blood on there, man. I left a lot of blood, broken glass, TVs, chains, flowers, and it was visions of. I still to this day, man. There's a good video of that too, playing Chicago at Reggie's. We actually stayed upstairs. There's a condo across the whole building, man, that the owner has, and
Yep.
we stayed there. What a killer place that is! And the
It,
sound was great, but the fans, man, they're real metal fans.
they really are.
It was an honor. It was an honor to play there. But it's kind of like that anywhere we play is an honor to play in front of people who are, you know, when you wake up in the morning and you're a metalhead and you choose to go to a show, I mean, you go there. I mean, you didn't just luck in, walk it in by
Right.
by the grace of anything. You plan that. You got your buddies, you got the gas, you got your tickets, you're ready to buy merch, but you're there to support heavy metal, and that's the greatest thing, man. And that's always been a driving force for me is to be real and down to earth with the people, but give them 110%. So getting back to your question is we just finished this album. I mean, I'm 62, man. I'm 62, keeping it true, still smashing TVs, still doing all that shit. I might have a bad hip. Sometimes I might walk with a cane, to get over
Yeah.
to get through these airports and shit, man. It's crazy. But we don't have management, we don't have a booking agency. So right now we're playing one-off shows and festivals, but who knows what tomorrow will bring. Now the album just got released today, actually,
Yep.
Jeopardy Room, and we'll just have to go from there. But if there's a promoter out there or booking agencies, someone that could give me some some negotiating power or something, I'm easy to find.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great, man. I hope so. I'll put the word out
I
for
mean,
sure.
one thing I'd like to do is get on a tour with another band that we could support. We
Hmm.
don't have to be the headliners. We'll
Yeah.
support somebody else to gain a new following and to meet and greet. It's sort of like being a politician, man. You got to get out there and win some votes. You got to kiss some babies. You got to shake some hands.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of shit. And getting back to that book thing, because I wined and dined with kings and queens, but I
Hmm.
slept in alley and ate pork and beans. So it's there's a lot to life. There's a lot to life, brother, and it's exciting that tomorrow is still coming. And don't worry about the past. Just deal with tomorrow. Be positive, and something good will happen. Good
Man,
vibe, good karma.
that is such a great attitude, man. And getting on another tour for you guys would be great to get you out to the new generation, the younger crowd, to build on that legacy that you guys have. And this is an important band, and the younger people need to know that for sure. It would be great, man. It would be great.
But it's really cool when you meet a young person, a young metalhead in his early 20s, but he's got an old school soul, and he's knowledgeable about the past and the present,
Love it.
but they want to know more and they want to learn, they want to see it, they want to feel it.
Hmm.
And that's really cool, man. It's like, European, South American, they're all into it till the day they die, and they're total like
Yep.
blood metal all the way. We played a show in the Chicago for that Metal Threat. Remember
Yeah.
that guy Paul? He puts on a fucking killer show. It's usually real heavy
Yeah.
black metal, death metal, Scandinavian with the white face metal and shit. All that
Yeah.
really obscure shit that he brings in. Well, the last minute, Exumer couldn't make it. He called me. He said, "Ron, can you?" I said, "We can make it, brother. Get us there." So we went there and did the shows about a year ago, maybe a year and a half, 2 years. It was with Dave Orman. So David Austin was already gone. So we get there, And I noticed that a lot of the bands are up there playing like statues, and they're sitting in there. They don't even move, but they're brutal and heavy and just extreme, but they're kind of statuish. And the next band comes in, same kind of deal, but they're heavy and great, but they just do what they do.
Yeah.
And then it's time for us to come on. I think we were second to last, and all of a sudden, Barnum and Bailey, like greatest show on earth, told us to be there. Boom! We come in and fucking with the TVs and the whole thing, and throughout the show, and flowers and skull masks with the Day of the Dead for the morgue, and
Yeah.
swinging some chains, and just getting really taking the crowd from the get go all the way to the end, getting them involved and just engaged. And,
Totally.
and I think people were like, wow, damn, is this what 80s metal? Is this what Nasty? They were freaking out, man, because
Yeah.
when you have the stage, man, you got to take it, and it's like back in the old days, Johnny Cash or Elvis Presley or Little Richard or Jerry Lee Lewis sometimes would share the same stage, man. They'd all be there
Ah,
down in the South, and then Little Richard would get off the stage and ha ha, check that out, Jerry
uh,
Lee. He goes,
hey,
top that. Top that, then Jerry Lee go, I got you. He'd get on there, and then all of a sudden he'd set his piano on fire, like, yeah.
yeah.
That's my mentality, is to burn images and burn the piano down like
Yeah.
Mondo Bizarro in the song Schizoid Platform.
Yeah.
Mondo Bizarro shit.
Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. It's got to be hard to find TVs nowadays, though.
I get the promoters. If they're booking us, I say, dude, you got to get me some TVs and you got to start looking for them now. I said, but you'll find them. I said, they're still there. I
Yeah.
said, do a promotion, man. Put it out. Say, if you bring a TV, you get in free, whatever. Just get them. But
There
I
you
want
go.
people to be driving down the road wherever they live in America or Central Florida, or I mean, anywhere in Central America, anywhere in the world. When you're driving your car and you happen to see an old TV set on the side of the road, I want you to think of one thing:
Yeah.
Nasty Ronnie, Nasty Savage.
There you go, man. No doubt about it. It's great, man. Ronnie, I can't thank you enough, man. You've gone through hell today to do this, and I so appreciate you, man. You are the legend. The Nasty Savage stuff, the whole scene that you created there, right here. Love you, brother. I hope to see you on the road. It would be fantastic. Thanks for everything you do, man.
Well, man, I appreciate what you're doing, and if you would just sign up, go to Nasty Savage Metal Nights, and it's a Nasty Savage group. You could drop this interview there. We do have the GoFundMe for Pete and the Nasty Savage band room. He lost all of his gear. And Pete's just a blue collar, hardworking guy that earned and earned and earned to get his equipment to play music, and he's a big part of this new band. And he's been with me for 5 years now, and it breaks my heart that his equipment, along with our drums and bass stuff, it's just ruined. 4 foot of water in there. And there's a GoFundMe. You go to Nasty Savage Metal Nights, join up, sign up there. There should be a link, or you can go to our Instagram page, Nasty Savage Band. And I just want to say rest in peace to Curtis Beeson, a legend, and not only with Nasty Savage, but everything he ever did. And he was a one of a kind, a smaller guy in size, but he would take on a buzzsaw and have your back, So, and I miss him. It's a terrible thing, and we just got to keep, just like the song, people in Southern Fried Homicide. There's a line that says, "Joy and sorrow, today and tomorrow. What greater crime than the loss of time?" Think of that. Joy and sorrow, today and tomorrow. What greater crime than the loss of time? That means just don't waste your time, man. If you got
Yeah,
someone you love, tell them. I mean, if you're not talking to somebody, make amends, because life is really fast. And also, don't sit around on your ass and not produce. If you say you're going to do something, do it.
yeah,
Joy and sorrow, today and tomorrow. What greater crime than the loss of time? Be productive. If you want to be in a band, go make it happen. It's all up to you. No one's going to drop it in your lap, people.
yep,
Just work hard, and then work harder, and then work even harder, and don't stop. Give value. I want people who work for me to come in early and stay late. I don't want them to go home. I don't want them to come in late and go home early. You got to
Hey,
fly with eagles. Fly with eagles, people, and don't deal with turkeys.
man.
And go to Nasty Savage and see if you could support Pete and the band room and get that gear back for us. We appreciate it. We want to thank Dean Guitar too, because they do endorse the guys and have given them great guitars as well. But
Man.
man, I can't thank you enough for what you do. I know today we did have some ups and downs, but you hung in there, brother. You hung in there. Man. I do appreciate your dedication. It means a lot. I
Oh,
really do. Keep up the
I
great work.
it's an honor to do it, man. And I so appreciate what you guys do. And there'll be links to the page on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll get that GoFundMe, please. Everybody, try and help. It's something major that you guys are going through there. Let's, if you can, lend a helping hand for sure. Ronnie, I love you, buddy. Thank you so much, man.
Much love, brother. And anything you need, just get in touch with me anytime.
All right, man. Have a great day, man. I will see you on the road. I know I will.
Let's go. Don't forget, when you're inside the Jeopardy room, it's hard to get out. And we are all in Jeopardy right now, just driving to work, getting cut off in traffic, paying the bills, buying shoes for the kids, whatever it is in Jeopardy, and that's what I feel. We did indulgence, we did abstract reality, penetration point, but now we're inside the Jeopardy room, and it's a Jeopardy room of life. Which way, what door? Open that door, and there's schizoid. Oh, open that door. It's Aztec elegance. Close the door, go down the hall, and you're opening up schizoid platform. Step on in. Step on in and find the sixth finger, or
Yeah,
try to get out, and all of a sudden it slams you in the face with Operation Annihilate, man. This is an album that has a lot of feeling, and it's got its own identity with each song. So enjoy it and go inside the Jeopardy room and feel it.
absolutely, man. Absolutely. Ronnie, thank you so much, man.
Let's go, brother. Thank you.
I appreciate you. See you soon.
Bye, brother.